So on today's video, I will show you how to code for random numbers. So just a quick explanation before I do start. So basically in R, you can generate different types of distributions of numbers. So that means normal distribution, Poisson distribution, etc. And what that means is that when you enter the code, for instance, for rnorm, which is for normal distribution, it will generate numbers that are normally distributed. Let's go ahead and insert R. So this is just a chunk of R that we'll be entering a code in. Let's say you'd like to create a variable called height, however you do not have any collective data sets with you, and you'd like R to give you random numbers. So to do that, you name your variable. Let's name it height equals, and to get random numbers that are of normal distribution, it's the code. So the code for that is rnorm bracket. So in this bracket, you will enter the values that are required to obtain random numbers. If you do not know the code, the easiest way to get the codes on R is to use the tab button. And when you use the tab button, R will automatically tell you that of the variables or the values you require to run this code. So the first value that we require is n. So n just means the number of, n just means the sample number. So this could be from anywhere between 100 to 1,000. Really depends on how much of the sample size you require. So let's, for instance, say we want a sample size of 50. Then we keep going, use the comma, remember? Use tab if you don't remember, mean. So in normal distribution, we have to include the sample size, we have to include the mean, and the standard deviation. So let's say we want a mean of maybe 165. So the height mean would be 165, for instance, and let's say we want a standard deviation of 5 centimeters. So we can go ahead and run this. And if we look under global environment, under values, R has created a set of 50 numbers that's of random normal distribution right here. So if you'd like to see these numbers, you can go ahead and write, use the code view, bracket, and height. Enter that. So here you have a data set that R has created for you, and it's just 50 random numbers. However, it's normally distributed. So to see if it's normally distributed, we can always use histogram, right? Because we know that histograms show us the distribution of our variable. So let's go with hist and height. Enter that, and there you go. There's a histogram of height, and you can see it's fairly normally distributed. But you have to remember when you're using R to create random numbers is that each time you enter this code into the console, this code into the console, R will always create random numbers. It's not going to be the same number each time you enter the code. So there is a way to solve this problem if you always want the same numbers. But I'll just give you an example that is what R does. So here we have the data set it's creating. So that's your height, but let's, for instance, let's run this again, right? And let's go view height. So here we have the second data set. So if you remembered the first one, I only remember. So let's go down and remember the first data set that we had, the last number value was 169.9, and this time is 162. So that just shows you that each time R will not give you the same numbers because it is random. You have to remember that. To solve this issue, we use the code setSeed, set.seed. And what setSeed just means is that you're telling R that, okay, hey R, every time I run this code, I want you to give me the same 50 numbers. So it's not going to give you different numbers each time you run it. So let's go set seed equals 1. So if we enter this into R now, and say view height, so this is the data that we have. So let's, for instance, say, okay, 161 is the first one, 165. Let's run this again, just to show you that it does work. And go view height. So we have 161 and 165. So now every time you enter this code, every time you run it, it will give you the same 50 numbers each time you run it.